the lack of support you face sometimes in just the sometimes callous attitude or the lack of planning that one faces in helping women come back after having a baby. Like this, I experienced. Once you've had a baby and you go away on maternity leave, then it's really like you've been thrown off the ship. You know, you don't really know if I have the job back. Am I going to be taken care of? You know, will I have the same boss? Do bosses still love me? Does the company still remember I exist? You know, a lot of that insecurity, a lot of us working women, when we've had babies, have had to go through. And I think one of the simple ways of supporting mums would just be to have decent planning. So you know, after I've had a baby, what job am I coming back to?
So do you think that the planning comes from the mother or it comes from the job? Who does that planning? I don't know anything about the rules and regulations.
No, it should. The planning should be at the corporate's end. It should be your bosses, it should be HR that takes on the onus of making sure that you come back to a position where you're able to give back, you know, where you're able to perform, where you're able to deliver. But more often than not, the responsibility falls on the mom. In the sense, you know, even with me, I had to go knocking from door to door to say, hey, I'm now available, you know.
So I just have a question to clarify
sure.
for me. So when a woman here takes maternity leave, do you just disappear or do you keep in contact with everybody or do you work from home a little bit? How does that work?
No, so you disappear in the sense that you are, you know, entirely with your baby. You may wish to keep in touch with the office, and you may even wish to continue being in touch with work. But the problem is that the office is viewing you as a sunk investment. The office is looking at you and saying, oh, she's gone away for 3 months, or she's gone away for 6 months. And, you know, in these 6 months, in any case, we need to hire either a temp resource or we need to bring in someone as a replacement. And when we bring in this person as a replacement, then what are we going to do with her? You know, or she should be comfortable taking a setback in her career. She should be comfortable getting a promotion now 2 years later because she's chosen to have a baby. So she's not going to be as productive.
Yeah,
How long is maternity leave?
Sorry.
How long is maternity leave?
6 months.
6
Really?
months if you have a generous organization.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
No, but I believe the government
I
has...
wish I could take 6 months off my job.
No, that's coming from the
amazing.
government recently, Sunny. I mean, it used to be 3 months earlier. The government is now...
In America, I
Yes.
think it's like, I think it's 2 to 3 months only.
Yeah, so the government has now mandated most organizations to try and give 6 months of paid leave, which has come as a mandate now. So that's a good thing, I believe.
UK is 1 year, I think.
Is it?
Yeah,
I'm not aware of
UK
that.
or the Nordics, there's 1 year.
Yeah, even I think 6 months is too less. I mean, because when, you know, you're dealing with how you're looking and you're dealing with everything that's changing inside you, and then there's a little baby. So between the physical and the emotional bit, there's a lot of stuff that you have to deal with.
Right. So then, if you had an employee that came to you right now and said, I'm pregnant and in a few months I'm going to have a baby, what is your plan? What would your plan be for her?
I think I would figure, I mean, one has to discuss when are you coming back to work.
6
And-
months later.
Yeah, so 6 months later, if you're coming back to work 6 months later, one has to plan in the interim, what am I going to do? Alternatively, I then decide that this job, which you were doing until now, I give to someone else, and you're going to come back to another job where we feel you'd be better placed to perform better.
But
and
what
it's
if
going
she
to be a
wanted her
win-win.
old job back, but she's disappeared for 6 months? Then what?
Then you have to find the replacement. You know, you have to plan for that. I mean, one doesn't announce a pregnancy overnight. You know, there are 9 months until you actually go away. So in those 9 months, it's more than enough time for manager and subordinate to be able to plan and figure what are we going to do in those 6 months.
Sorry, we're just out of time.
Yeah.
One last question that I want to conclude this with. Do you guys really feel that women make better bosses and better leaders, considering the fact that they tend to take a more holistic approach to leadership, to people management? And I mean, yeah, so would love to kind of understand your perspective in that.
I don't think we make better leaders or worse leaders. I think I've seen terrible women leaders and I've seen amazingly inspiring women leaders, and the same goes for men. But the question is sometimes men answer that differently. So I don't think it's, I think leadership is such a personal thing. You could be a leader that's more aggressive, and that could be male or female. You could be a leader that's a lot more sort of calming and logical and sort of takes decisions with a lot more thought. You could be somebody that's sort of playing on the front foot. But that's got nothing to do with gender, and I think that's the perception that we need to change. And I don't think it's a competition about women are better or men are better. It's about all of us collectively being able to grow together with whatever traits we have as individuals, not based on gender.
So my view is women definitely make better leaders, and women definitely make better leaders because of the people that we are, because of the way we are raised, and because of the way we are fundamentally wired. I think in today's organizations, there is no choice but to have to work with people. It's not even so much about competence functionally as it is about being able to work with people and being able to get the best from people, from having a diverse team and being able to get the best from a diverse team. And I think women win over men hands down. There might be exceptions, but I think by and large, I would certainly argue that for all the traits that women have, they make far better leaders than men. The problem is we don't have enough women leaders.
Sunny, you have a viewpoint on that?
I agree with it's not about gender. I do believe that every single office is very, very different. Every job is different. The requirements are different. If you asked me to be a fireman, I'm sorry, I just could not do that. But if you asked me to...
It's been proven that even women commandos make better commandos as teams than men commandos. It's been proven in research, and it's been proven actually in live demos. So, you know, women could make far better firemen too. It's just that we don't have women firemen. Fire women, exactly.
Right. My biggest... Yes. My biggest issue sometimes, and this is from my own perspective, is women out there sometimes end up being the biggest people who are against everything, who say the most nastiest things that a man would never dream about saying. I'll go to a press conference and the most obnoxious things will come out of a woman's mouth. And I want to say, where are you from? Because I have no idea why you would ask questions like these that are so demeaning, that are so disrespectful in every way. I find that sometimes that happens more from women than it does from men. Maybe I have no idea where that comes from. But that's just my own perspective. And as far as leadership goes, I think that women who are amazing leaders, they're just amazing. You can't beat them. But if there are men that are just as good, that are open, like Butterfly, like you're amazing. Your company has all these women work. They come into my office, and it's all women, except for one gentleman who didn't speak at all, who comes into I don't know if he's here or not, but it's...
He's here.
He's still not talking. Please stop talking,
he's a
wherever
silent
you
spectator.
are. Just stop talking, because you talk too much. But I do think that there are male leaders out there like yourself who are embracing the idea of women voicing their opinions and doing things that they want and being able to talk about subjects and bringing the four of us on stage with you to talk about some of these extremely important issues. So I do think that there's a shift happening. So whether it's a male leader or a female leader, to me they fall into the same category.
Fantastic.
I just want to say thank you.
Thank
for
you.
making me a
thank
part
you
of Butterfly.
So that's lovely. Thank you, Sunny.
So I would kind of agree with Vani on this, and I think maybe we are more battle wounded than the other women here. But it's. I mean, of course, there are leaders and there are people who look up to both men and women. What I just feel slightly is that women are far more empathetic, and they try to build a team better, whereas a guy would be slightly more self-focused, and he would have all the odds working for him, versus women have to fight against the odds. take care of a team and make sure that, somewhere you also fight the self-doubt you have, fight your own confidence issues, things happening at home, pregnancy-related breaks, everything that we've talked about. And just, be there that, okay, I have been able to do what I am and what I am doing right now in spite of everything. And so, you tend to look at what are the positives in the person and try to really build that up. And I think the mentoring, coaching kind of mindset women have just works better in actually making the entire team come up than maybe a men team would be there. So I know you've got an A team here, but it's like, again, it's a collective effort.
No, I
which
completely
is there.
agree. I absolutely
versus
agree
if
with
I'm
that.
just talking about individuals, and I would say that individual A versus individual B, if you see their stories, if you look at the life journeys, you will understand that the gender neutrality doesn't really work.
I really want to work for you one day because you seem like you would be the nicest boss. The nicest boss. Should we like,
I think
okay?
we all want to work with her. I would agree to that.
I would vouch for that, having worked with Bhavna.
See,
Not
I was
directly,
right.
but for sure.
No, this has been great, ladies. Thank you so much. I think this has been a really fruitful discussion and a very insightful discussion. Can you have a big round of applause for all the panelists here, please, guys? Thank you.
Thank you.
Done? Sunny solo. Look center. Sunny over here. Look there. Sunny over here. Sunny. नीचे बढ़ नीचे बढ़. Sunny here right. Look center. Thank you guys.
Yeah, rolling. Yeah, study your association with FMG, like what I have to say about.
My association with Butterfly and Summer is something that took a little bit of time for us to figure out what we were going to do. And I know they had a vision and a direction they wanted to go, and I'm happy that we were all on the same page of being able to create great content and create content that I believe people would be interested in, and content that felt real. That's what was important to me.
Absolutely.
Okay, how did Sunny came into your mind for the
Hello! Isn't that every day? Everybody's like, I'm on their mind. No, I'm just
I don't
kidding.
think it's tough for Sunny to come into anyone's mind, for that matter of fact. She's top of the mind recall, clearly. But I think, when we were kind of looking at Horrorfly, and Horrorfly is a fashion beauty portal that kind of, like Sunny said, talks to real women for real issues. And who better than, Sunny to kind of reflect and kind of talk about real issues and real women, because she's had such an interesting life where she's kind of led it with utmost dignity and respect. So we saw that marriage happening absolutely beautifully.
Okay, Sunny, tell us like how was it associating with him and all?
The association is absolutely amazing. I think that when you can have an association with a company and be able to be on the same page and have the same concerns and be able to be open to suggestions or different ideas. As most people must know, I'm pretty opinionated, and it's, even though I'd like it to be my way or the highway, I know that can't happen, and it has to be a give and take. And I think that everything that we've shot so far has been something that we've agreed on, that it should feel like we're making great content, and I think that's what's most important.
Yeah.
Sunny, how do you feel you are good in business, like shooting as a businesswoman? How do you handle your business-wise?
Well, I think every company is different, and both Daniel and I have a no bullshit approach for a lot of different things. Everything's pretty black and white, straightforward. We don't believe in the idea of making people run around in circles. I think our deal is pretty easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was, and they usually are. And as far as our employees go and everybody, we just believe that everybody should work hard. And I know what I put into my day, and I expect the same thing from my employees, and that's it.
सनी लास्ट क्वेश्चन दूसरे डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म से या कोई भी विमेंस वेब मैगजीन्स हमेशा से रही है, तो एज एन इन्वेस्टर व्हाट आर यू एडिंग जो पहले किसी मैगजीन या किसी डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म में नहीं है?
I don't think it's about what somebody's done or what somebody hasn't done. I think this is about taking ideas that maybe have been spoken about before and giving it our own spin, our own thought, my own opinion of those things, and their statistics and their opinions of how it should be shot and things that we should talk about. I believe that the biggest thing for myself was that it should feel real. It should feel like if anybody could go out and do the things that we're talking about, and or providing the steps of how that woman can accomplish these things.
Sunny, you're talking about Bollywood, like you're talking about equality, like maybe you're talking about gender equality. In Bollywood, do you feel the actress, the heroine, has that kind of a equality, like compared to the hero?
Well, I think that each actor is different. I do believe that there are differences. As far as myself goes, I can only speak about my own experiences and what I've gone through, and it's not been easy. I've had to create my own path, and my team and Daniel and everybody, we have to fight tooth and nail to do everything that we want to. Do I have the best of lineup when I have a film coming out? Do I work with those big A-list actors? No, but I create my own path and I make my own decisions, and I'm happy for that. And I'm happy that I'm able to do things my way, and which is the most important to me. No one's telling me what to do, and I like that.
Okay, Sunny, as you have talked about the
Sunny, one last question. Sunny days a year, what do you do to beat the sun?
Wait, what?
Sunny days, I mean to say it's hot actually.
It's hot outside.
Last question, guys.
What am I doing to beat the sun? I don't know. I'm going to Rajasthan for a month. I'm going to be in the sun every single day. That's going to be a very good question. But if I had to say something, it would be coconut water. It would be a lot of light food, not fried stuff, and light clothing, nothing too heavy, and that would be really uncomfortable. That'd be it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just we completely. Thank you, everybody.